Hey guys, it's Tim, and this is Wrestling Unlimited, as it's Monday, and that means tonight was Monday Night Raw. As far as tonight's Monday Night Raw does go, I feel two different ways about it. I thought the show as a whole was a good episode of Monday Night Raw, but with the way WWE is running these pay-per-views so quick from each other, as far as like you do a pay-per-view or a PLE, 3 weeks, boom, there's another PLE. 3 weeks, boom, there's another PLE. I feel like they really got to just go full bore on these storylines and start building things for that next pay-per-view. And unfortunately, they really didn't build anything that I noticed new for the Clash of the Castle show. Like, we know we're getting Drew and Damian Priest, but we've known that since the weekend. We've known that since Saturday when Triple H announced that during the King and Queen of the Ring show. Other than that, and Luke can correct me if I'm wrong, if I missed anything, they didn't really set much of anything in motion as far as even really super hinting, other than maybe Chad and Sammy as matches for that next pay-per-view. Am I wrong there? I didn't notice anything new other than maybe setting up another Chad Sammy match.
I mean, yeah, you're not technically wrong. I mean, maybe they do something with the Judgment Day and the LWO.
Oh, I take it back. They did tell us that Shayna, and I don't know if it's going to be at the pay-per-view or not, Shayna and Zoe are the next in line to be getting a women's tag title shot, and then Bianca and Jade are going to be on the show next week. So they did kind of tell us that, but it's like, with, as I said, WWE running these shows so quickly, like from one to the next, instead of it being like a whole month in between or 5 weeks in between, and you have room to breathe a little bit. You really don't have much room to breathe. And you really got to just, as soon as you finish one pay-per-view, boom, you're jumping on, building up to that next one. So we'll see. But that was the one gripe that I had of this show, was it was a good show overall as it's an episode of Raw, but building up to the next pay-per-view, I felt like it lacked just a little bit. What did you think of the show overall?
I thought it was an interesting episode of Raw.
Yeah.
Like, the way it ended was kind of interesting. And
well,
yeah,
the way it ended, most, if not everybody in the United States missed it. So
yeah.
it didn't air on the USA Network. Now, if you're unaware, which if you're on Twitter, Facebook, whatever, you've probably already seen this, but we'll just talk about it here right now. So Raw ends with Liv Morgan retaining the Women's World Championship against Becky Lynch in the steel cage. The show then goes off the air on the USA Network with Liv walking up the ramp towards Dominic, who is like laying in the aisleway, and then it just cuts. Well, if you're watching anywhere but the USA Network, you saw something else. You actually saw Liv walk up to Dom and start making out with Dom. Dom resisting some, eventually pulling away, looking disgusted, and Liv kind of smiling at him. So I don't know what this is leading to, but Liv kissed Dom, but Dom played it off like he didn't want the kiss. He didn't like the kiss. The kiss wasn't, it was a shocker to him, I guess you would say. What is your takeaway of how this all went at the very tail end, the last 90 seconds of Monday Night Raw?
I don't know. To me, it doesn't really feel like a whole lot. And the reason why is because Rhea's not really involved.
Right. And it would make more sense if Rhea was there, especially knowing that everything that Becky Lynch has been doing was supposed to be Rhea Ripley, and they just, when Rhea got hurt, slotted Becky into that spot and didn't divert from the story, apparently. So I get what you're saying there. It would mean more if Rhea was actually there. I mean, they kind of played around it where it's like Dom is still in contact with Rhea. Priest told him today, you speak to Rhea? He goes, yeah, I talked to mommy since Saturday. So it's interesting. I mean, it's a major storyline beat that USA Network kind of fumbled. You can't put that on WWE. USA Network's the one cutting from one show to the next. That's not on WWE. Granted, WWE immediately put the whole thing up on their social media, so that's good. But yeah, very interesting end to tonight's Raw with Liv Morgan, and we'll see where it all leads to next week. I mean, for all we know, if you didn't hear the Becky news, Becky's contract is up Saturday, and for all we know, there's a good chance that Becky doesn't resign and she's just not there next week, and they move on like Becky Lynch is nothing. Becky Lynch is gone. No, I don't know if they use that as storyline and go, oh, Liv ran her out of the company or something. Maybe, I don't know. But if you guys didn't hear that news beat today, according to a report from Fightful, Becky Lynch's contract is up on Monday. We don't have an update since 2 p.m. Pacific, but as of this morning, she had not signed a new deal. So I don't know how that's going to play into the storyline here of Dom screwed Becky twice, and now where that leads to, because Becky's supposed to be in the Rhea spot, kind of, sort of, but we'll let it all play out. We've got 2 more Raws till the next pay-per-view, I want to say. 2 more Raws till the next pay-per-view on June 15th, and then we go from there. So, some interesting stuff. We'll get into everything pertaining to tonight's Monday Night Raw. But with that, I want to say thank you for joining me here, or joining us here, twitch.tv/PWU Unlimited, youtube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Remember, if you are watching live on Twitch, you can help us out a couple of different ways. You can either help us out by hitting that donate button down below or donating Twitch bits in the live chat. Also, remember, you can help us out by subscribing to the channel, one of 2 different ways. You can either subscribe with a tiered subscription, or you can subscribe with Amazon Prime, because remember, if you have Amazon Prime, then you have Prime Gaming. Prime Gaming gives you a lot of cool things like free games, free stuff for games, and you always get 1 free subscription to any Twitch channel you want to subscribe to throughout the month, and I'd greatly appreciate it if you did right here, Pro Wrestling Unlimited. Also, remember to help us out over on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button. That way you know when we post new videos. That way you know when we go live. And that way you know when we post to the community tab. If you want to support the channel in another way, you can become a member by hitting the join button. Even if you just subscribe at the $1 tier, it is greatly appreciated. Highly, highly appreciated. Whether you do it on YouTube as a member or patreon.com/PW Unlimited. And also, if you want to get your comment, question, or concern read live on the air, you can do store. Head over to the Epic Game Store. Buy something. Whether you're getting an older game like Grand Theft Auto 5, which is only $15 right now, maybe you're getting a newer game like Hades 2, or you're claiming the free game, which is Farming Simulator 22, use this code right here, PW Unlimited at checkout, and you will be supporting us at no extra cost. Maybe you're getting into that new wrecked season of Fortnite. Ninja doesn't like it, but I like it. Ninja called it dog piss water or whatever he said today, but I like it. You're going to get that new battle pass. Use the code PWU and LIMITED when you're doing so, whether that's on your PlayStation, your Xbox, your Nintendo Switch, or your PC. Heck, even on your mobile device, you can play Fortnite. So again, for all Epic Games and Epic Games Store purchases, use code PWU Unlimited. As far as Monday Night Raw goes, pull up the notes here. Show opens up. We get a recap video of King and Queen of the Ring. And Ludwig Kaiser is in the ring following that. He introduces the new King of the Ring, Gunther. Gunther enters in a blue suit and held the crown in his hand. As we've seen since Saturday, Gunther will not put that crown on his head. It is above him, which I am so happy about. I did not want Gunther walking around with that crown on. Now, him carrying the crown, cool. What are your thoughts on that? Gunther not putting the crown on, but carrying it around, because he still respects winning King of the Ring, but he's like, I'm not going to put this goofy crown on my head.
I don't know. This year feels kind of weird how, so normally at the end of every King and Queen of the Ring tournament, they always do, the cape and the crown on the throne thing. It feels kind of weird that they never did that. I mean, me personally, I don't care if Gunther really puts the crown on. I mean, right. I think it looks cool if he has the crown on, in my opinion.
So, I'm just spitballing here. I think they wanted this tournament to feel more important and special. And the crown, the cape, the scepter all kind of came off cartoonish. Oh, we're going to dress you up as the real king and queen. Because, Zelina won the queen's crown, and then all of a sudden she had a British accent. No, we ain't doing that. So, I like it better that it's just the crown. Gunther ain't wearing the crown. I like it better this way. Just gonna say. If Randy Orton would have won, you really want to see Randy Orton walk around with the crown, the scepter, and the cape? No. No one wants to see that.
Now, I will say I do like how like they're finally doing you get a title match after you win the tournament, not just I won the King and Queen of the Ring tournament, so I got wear crown and a scepter.
Hey. Speaking of that, where do you think Tony Khan got his idea? You really think Mark the Heart came up with that on Christmas Eve to give the Owen Cup winners title matches at All In? You think Mark the Heart really came up with that all the way back on Christmas Eve, or you get the idea somewhere else?
Nah, he's probably copying WWE with that.
That's what I'm thinking. Like, don't play us dumb. Because he got too specific, saying, I was talking to Dr. Martha Hart on Christmas Eve, and she came up with a great idea for the winners. Like, when you get too specific like that, where you got to say, like, Christmas Eve, and we were talking back then, and this and that, it's like, okay. Now we know you're not telling the truth because you're over here, It's just like, that's my opinion. When people get too specific, it's not right, and it's wrong, and it's not the truth.
I think that, and people have been giving like AEW crap for this Owen Hart tournament not meaning anything. So maybe it's just like, oh, we'll finally give him like a title shot, not just a belt that says you won the tournament.
But it's just funny that the timing of that announcement comes the day after WWE does their tournament, where the winners are getting, title shots in August at their big pay-per-view, probably to some second biggest, to some third biggest. And then
I think it's their biggest.
You think SummerSlam's their biggest, or AEW All In? What are you talking about?
I think All In.
Oh yeah, no.
AEW is their biggest.
All In's their biggest show. I'm talking about SummerSlam. Do you consider it the second or third biggest? Some say it's above Rumble. Some say it's behind Rumble.
I think it's above Rumble. Rumble's the third.
Right.
SummerSlam's the second, and then Mania's the best.
So I used to say behind Rumble, but now that it's in stadiums and it's a bigger deal, I say it's number 2 now. Like before, I would say Rumble just because Rumble builds to WrestleMania and it gets us our main event. But now with SummerSlam being such a big event, like bigger than it's ever been, it's always been a big event, but SummerSlam being bigger than it's ever been, I would now put SummerSlam at number 2.
Right.
So
I mean, I've been to both though, SummerSlam and Rumble.
Which one felt like a bigger show? How about that? Because you've been to it since SummerSlam became a stadium show. So
probably SummerSlam because it was in a football stadium.
Right. Well, that's the thing. SummerSlam's at football stadiums like Mania. The thing with the Royal Rumble is they do those at baseball stadiums.
Well, I went to Rumble. It was in the Enterprise Center. That's where the Rams used to play, but it was like an indoor stadium.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. Because most years since they've leveled it up has been baseball stadiums. But no, you're right. I forgot about that one in St. Louis, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I don't know, like
what they used to call that? The America's Dome or something?
I couldn't tell you.
Something like that.
I really couldn't.
Back in the day.
I don't know. Me personally, I felt like I enjoyed SummerSlam a lot more. Mainly because it was like an outdoor football stadium. It actually felt like more special.
Oh, it's called the Dome in America Center in St. Louis. Gotcha. Well, no, and that's the thing. With SummerSlam and Royal Rumble is all just about the 2 Rumble matches, and then they throw other matches on there. At least with SummerSlam, just like with WrestleMania, they try to make every match feel important for the most part. Unlike with, like I said, the Royal Rumble pay-per-view, you have 2 big matches and then whatever. So,
yeah, that and like the other matches. I mean, most of the time the champions retain anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, when was the last time we saw a world title like change hands at a Rumble?
Royal Rumble? Ooh, that's a good question. I don't even know.
Last time I can think of was John Cena beating AJ Styles for the WWE Championship. That's the last time I can remember.
2017. That's what I was thinking, but I wasn't sure if there was anything since then. Yeah, that may be. That is the last time. Trying to think. Yeah, nope, that's the last time.
Because like a lot of the world title matches now are mainly just trying to wrap up like storylines before Rumble, then trying to start something new, building into Mania.
Exactly. So, looking here, and I mean, if you think about it, since 2016, We've actually had 3 world title matches at Royal Rumble since 2016, I believe it was. That was maybe 2017. That was Roman Reigns versus Kevin Owens. Because we had the one for the Universal title. Then we had the last man standing during COVID. And then we had the last one with this big Sammy angle.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've 3 times now had world title matches at the Royal Rumble, which is interesting to think. And the champion retained every single time. Owens the first one, Roman the other 2.
I'm sure that was probably just a coincidence, the first 2.
Maybe. Because the first one, wasn't that Jericho in the shark cage?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah, second one was Last Man Standing.
Yep.
And the third one.
Yeah, I remember that one, the Last Man Standing, for sure, because they were fighting all through that empty building, and Paul Heyman was walking around with them, talking crap and stuff. Yeah, that one I can't forget. It's COVID, and it's like it was like one of the biggest matches they did during that time, I feel like. So
I don't know. For me, like, it was hard to actually get into wrestling during that time because it didn't feel special since it was all like in an empty building.
Right, you're not wrong. But I'm trying to think, like, the matches that felt the biggest. That was probably, for me, one of, if not the one that felt the biggest, outside like the Boneyard match. But that's just a special beast in itself.
I thought the Boneyard match was kind of dumb.
Really?
Me personally, I did not care for it.
Oh, I love the Boneyard match. But go for it.
Well, when they said like Boneyard match, no one knew what that was, and AJ Styles basically had to explain that. Like,
no, I get that, but I liked it. I mean, I like all the Jeremy Borash produced cinematic matches, the ones he did with Matt Hardy and TNA, and then that one. They need to do more with Jeremy Borash. I'm just saying it right now.
Do they still do stuff with him in WWE?
He works he's a content producer at the PC or whatever. So I don't know.
I know I saw him doing. I know when they first brought him in, he did like an on-screen interview with Matt Riddle in NXT.
Yep, I remember that.
That's when Matt Riddle said, "I want to face Brock Lesnar."
Let me see. We know what he's actually still doing in WWE. Like, I'm 99% sure he's still signed to the company. Yeah, he's still signed to the company. Borash's current title in WWE, Senior Director of Content and Development, working directly with Shawn Michaels on the NXT brand. So, and when they did that Boneyard match, he was like the lead on it because he had done all those Matt Hardy ones in TNA. My bad. Impact at the time. So, this is his first appearance for WWE. He was actually part of the broadcast team on 205 Live with Tom Phillips. I don't remember that at all, but okay, cool.
No, I don't remember that at all.
I barely watched 205 Live, I'm going to be honest.
Didn't you say that was like somebody's favorite show and they really like Jack Gallagher?
Yes. There's a girl I went on a date with once told me that she liked watching 205 Live just for Jack Gallagher. She thought he was so different than everybody else.
You end up saying, you're probably not going to like him now.
Yup. We got some donations here from Esports Gaming Rules. First one, he says, with the Becky news, it seems they've been planning Rhea versus Liv, and it looks like Damage Control could be in the storyline headed to WWE's return to Japan, as I love Kairi Sane's new theme song. I did notice that. Kairi had new music. I liked it.
I noticed it.
So we'll talk about the whole EO flip out later when we get to it. With the Becky thing, like I said, everything that they're doing with Becky was supposed to be Rhea. Now, I don't know if Becky's leaving by Saturday, but everything they're doing with Becky right now, since WrestleMania, is basically she just got put in the Rhea spot once Rhea got injured. All of this, Liv Rhea. It was always supposed to be Liv Rhea. Dom screwing Rhea. Dom messing up again, screwing Rhea tonight. It was all supposed to be Rhea. Then he also talks a little more about, he says, with another donation, thank you. He says, love where Damage Control is going in its current storyline, but Kairi and Io will be so busy in Japan soon with the possible appearance in Marigold. So we don't know that. We don't know if they're actually going to work the Marigold show on July 13th. Because if they're going to work Marigold, they're going to work only the big shows. The next big one is July 13th. We don't know that. The rumor is that they would like them to be on that show or possible future shows, but we can't say that they're probably going to be busy in Japan because you don't know. What if WWE's got something that weekend and they need them there? They need them there somewhere else doing something, So we don't know if they're actually going to Japan. But they said Marigold and Ryogoku, and WWE returned to Japan with Kairi Io and Asuka being headlines. Well, I only saw Asuka out of Damage Control on that poster. Let me see. WWE Japan 2024. I remember only seeing out of all of the Damage Control people, I thought I only saw Asuka's face on that poster. Give me 1 second and I'll tell you. Asuka, okay, they're all three on there. Asuka, Io, and Kairi. But Asuka's out with an injury right now, so Asuka may not even make it by the end of July. That's the whole thing. Asuka may not even make it. So we'll see how that all does go. We also got a super chat here in the YouTube chat from Macho Man Randy Salad. It's always
a great name.
It is a great name. But when you have names like that, they're all smushed into one word. My brain, my dyslexic ass brain, I have to slow it down to try to read it. Because it's I know what I'm trying to read. But yeah. So that's why I had to read
I'm pretty sure with those YouTube, when you're making a username on YouTube, you can't really do the space, though. I'm pretty sure.
We have Tyrone Jones. There's a space between Tyrone and Jones. We have Rich S.A.
But if you're trying to make a name that big, though,
right.
You have to have you can't have a space. But anyway.
But yeah, that's why I had to read it the way I did, because my damn dyslexic brain, it just mushes it all together. And then, yeah. Anyways, he says, do you think Malachi Black returns to WWE? I think there's a good possibility, but I don't know when. Because there's a lot of rumors on his contract. Tony Khan said he signed till 2027. He said he's not signed till 2027. New rumor says his contract could be up sometime soon. There's a few contracts coming up in September for AEW, so we'll see. What do you think? Malachi come back to WWE?
I think there's a really good chance it happens.
Especially now with Triple H in charge.
Yeah, especially with Triple H in charge. I didn't understand. Apparently, I think it was during the skit where they did the jelly thing,
the bloodbath
on Dynamite. Yeah, the bloodbath. I've seen so many tweets, people saying Malachi Black is washed.
What does that mean?
People say he's not as good as a wrestler as he once was.
Oh yeah, screw you. Not you, but those people saying it.
Yeah, well, for one, he hasn't really done a lot of single stuff in AEW. He's always done tag matches with House of Black. So you can't really say. So you can't really say he's not the same wrestler he once was.
Go watch the video he put up 6 months ago, maybe, of him doing a singles match. I think it's at his gym. He's got a training gym or whatever. It was great. He's good. He's really good.
I do think there's a good chance he goes back. I know a lot of people kept saying he might be on his way out after he lost to Adam Copeland.
I just don't think his contract's up yet, though.
Yeah, but it really just depends when his contract is up, or when he took time off. AEW, maybe they could have added time to his deal.
Very true. Very true.
Or maybe they also just give him an offer he can't refuse.
Also, we got Rich here in the chat saying Edge not putting no one over in AEW. That ain't true, because he's lost matches in AEW. Yes, he's won most of his matches, but hey, he beat Christian for the TNT title, only to drop it right back to Christian right after. So you put Christian over there, and Christian got the TNT title back. That's what I'm just saying. Go for it.
He took the pin to Malachi Black at Dynasty.
Exactly. Granted, he's won about 98% of his matches, but he's lost a few. I guess you can't call the Christian pin a match, but whatever. Anyways, we gotta get talking to Raw. We're 25 minutes into this and haven't even talked about this show. So Gunther comes out and we get You Suck chance and we want Randy chance. Commentary talks about the botched finish. Gunther said that he beat Orton and he's the rightful king of the ring. He said he earned the opportunity to wrestle the world champion at SummerSlam. Gunther says that Gunther admired that, Damian Priest, he's the champion now. Damian Priest, maybe running Judgment Day now that Rhea is gone, but that doesn't mean he's going to be the champion when I challenge for the title at SummerSlam. I, the man who was the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time, will become overall the greatest champion of all time. He said he raises the prestige of King of the Ring as well. The world title also lacked prestige because the champion won it by taking shortcuts with the Money in the Bank briefcase. I didn't like that line by Gunther, but then it made a lot of sense with Priest's comeback later. The Priest comes out and interrupts. He's got Finn and JD with him. No Dom. Priest then called Gunther's crown adorable. Priest said that Gunther proved nothing because he really didn't even beat Orton. His shoulder was not down. Priest admitted, yeah, I cashed in Money in the Bank. But that's what you're supposed to do. That's how Money in the Bank works. I earned Money in the Bank by winning a ladder match. You technically didn't fully win your match, is what he told Gunther. He's like, we've both been working here for years. We know how the briefcase works. I like that. I like that a lot. Where he's like, oh, you say I took a shortcut? No, I had to earn that shortcut and was granted the shortcut. It's like, yes, I did, but didn't take a shortcut. Priest then offered to teach Gunther a lesson about the business if he was confused. Gunther then said, you know, I've been waiting for someone to try and teach me anything about being in this ring. I don't know much about regular business, but I know everything about this business, and I will protect this business that I love. Gunther said the Priest could lecture him all he wants before SummerSlam, but that doesn't mean that they will be fighting at SummerSlam. He's the king and he gets the title shot, but maybe he defends, or maybe his shot is against somebody else if Priest can't hold on to that belt. Priest said wasn't sure what Gunther could teach him, and then out come Drew McIntyre. And boy howdy, did this crowd in Savannah pop huge for Drew. Like Drew's music hit, that sword like shing, and they popped huge. One of the biggest pops we've heard on a Raw in a while. Like it was like, it rivals the CM Punk pop, I will say. When Punk's music hits, crowds go crazy. And I feel like it was on the same level tonight when Drew's music hit. Drew comes down to the ring, crowd chants for CM Punk. McIntyre told Gunther that, you know, I'm going to be champion in less than 3 weeks, so you're probably going to be defending against me. And Gunther looked like he actually got, or challenging me. And Gunther looked excited about that. He kind of got a smirk on his face like, I hope so. Commentary even said, these two got a lot of history. Priest then told McIntyre that he wasn't looking past him. Gunther then left the ring and gave it to those two to build up for their match. McIntyre warned him that he was spreading himself just a little too thin. He said Judgment Day keeps screwing up, and now things have gone to hell since Rhea Ripley has left. McIntyre said that he is going to become a 4-time world champion come Clash at the Castle. Priest, he said Priest is walking into a war zone in Scotland. The fans would break him mentally, just like they almost did to Roman Reigns last year at Clash at the Castle in Cardiff. He said if it wasn't for Solo, he would have won that match. He's like, and let me give you, he goes, let me give you a geography lesson. What I've learned here since living in America is they don't really teach geography in school. And Pat goes, excuse me? And Damian's kind of just like, what? He's like, Cardiff is way over here. France is a little over here. But Scotland is way up here. And those fans in Scotland, they're going to really take it to you. And Priest laughed and goes, that's your game plan? You think the crowd's going to distract me enough? Yeah, no. I'm not worried about the fans booing me over you. He said he made a career of proving people wrong. Priest, that is. He said he asked McIntyre if his wife's going to be there. And then said, what's her name again? McIntyre starts to get pissed. And Priest laughed because he so easily can get under his skin. Priest then wondered if McIntyre was going to do anything about it. And the crowd starts to die out here, and like they're just kind of going through the motions, it feels like. And the crowd's not really caring, and then all of a sudden Braun Strowman music's hit. And I'm like, oh, they sent Braun out because they're kind of losing the crowd. Braun then comes down, and he ends up setting up for his match with JD McDonough. So it's like this segment started off hot with Gunther. Priest came out and it was good. Drew came out and it was good. But then they felt like they kind of were just stepping over each other and like just saying things. and the crowd kind of started to die out, and the segment kind of petered from there. So what do you think of the whole thing as a whole, from, you know, the beginning with Gunther there till the end when they threw out Braun Strowman to set up for his match?
That was kind of weird. Like the ending, like the beginning was good.
Yeah.
It's just the ending where they randomly brought out Strowman. I thought that was kind of weird.
But to me, it felt like they're losing him. Just go to the next match. Braun, run. Braun, or not run, but Braun, go. You know? Because you could tell the crowd was slowly getting quieter and quieter and not really caring.
And if I had to guess, I think Priest probably retains that Clash at the Castle.
Really?
I think so, yeah.
You think we get Gunther and Priest?
Yeah.
So remember, we've got... Oh, punch the microphone. We've got Clash of the Castle coming up on the 15th. And then what is it? July 6th, I want to say. 5th, 6th, whatever. July 6th is Money in the Bank. And then we have SummerSlam. So there's 2 more PLEs. But, so we're different on that one because I think Drew wins. I think Drew wins in Scotland. Go for it. Wait, why?
Well, the reason why I say that, because... Well, the reason why I can't say that then because you're just pushing off the him and CM Punk stuff too much.
But here's the thing: if Punk, so we don't know when Punk's going to get cleared. That's the issue. Is Punk?
I thought Punk was already cleared.
Not fully. Like, he was cleared enough to grab the leg and whatnot at WrestleMania, but he ain't doing. As we've seen, he hasn't really gotten physical yet. All he's done is twice grab the leg of Drew. That's it. Other than that, he hasn't done anything else physical.
I think it's probably going to lead to Punk most likely costing Drew in Scotland. Because
I can see it.
Do you know how awesome that'd be? Like, just to heat up this rivalry more. It's like, you cost me a championship match in my home country.
And then that's the other thing. If I do want to see Drew versus Punk at like a SummerSlam. So, yeah, maybe you're right.
Would you rather see him fight Punk at SummerSlam or like a random PLE like
True.
Like a Fastlane or something?
You're not wrong there, but it's like,
all right. Like, what's after Bash of Berlin?
Yeah, I haven't announced anything past that.
But like, what do they normally do in like September or October? I can't remember what they normally do.
Probably Fastlane.
Or Crown Jewel, maybe.
Crown Jewel is November 2nd. They have announced that. They did announce that past Saturday. I take it back. They did announce that.
I can't remember I think October was Fastlane. I can't remember if they really did anything in September last year.
I'll look it up right now. WWE 2023 pay-per-view schedule was... So they did SummerSlam in August, Payback in September.
I don't remember Payback at all.
Fastlane in October. Payback was the one. Judgment Day was on the poster, and we saw Trish and Becky in the steel cage. LA Knight versus The Miz with John Cena as the referee.
That was the one with Seth versus Shinsuke in the main event, I'm pretty sure.
Yes, Seth versus Shinsuke in the main event.
Oh, yeah, I remember it now.
Rhea and Raquel. And Austin Theory and Rey Mysterio.
I thought that was just an okay show.
It was. So yeah, they have October is Fastlane, November Crown Jewel, end of November Survivor Series. And they didn't do a December pay-per-view. They considered the Survivor Series one on November 25th the end of the year pay-per-view, the December show, because they did 2 in November.
I will say though, I do think like shows like a Payback and a Fastlane will start to feel a little more important now that both world titles will be on the line.
Hopefully, yes, I do agree. Hopefully.
Because I know when Roman was champion, I didn't think Fastlane and Payback didn't really mean a whole lot. I mean, I know Seth was defending on both shows, but
you say that, Yet King and Queen of the Ring did not see a world title match. It only saw a WWE Championship match. Damian Priest did not defend at King and Queen of the Ring, though.
Yeah, but at least both tournaments like led to like
True.
winners who get number one contenders.
True. We still had many important matches, so.
I mean, we all knew Cody was retained and that Logan Paul wasn't winning.
Right. Oh, speaking of Logan Paul, did you see the spot where he did the I don't know if you heard this or read this anywhere. The spot where he did the frog splash off the top rope and the drone did the 360 around him. Did you hear that was his idea? He's been pitching it for a while.
I didn't hear that at all.
So he sent out a tweet with a text message thread to Triple H. Apparently he has pitched this a couple of times to film him with a drone doing like the 360 thing, but different buildings that they've been in would not permit it. But this building was so big and they were so far enough away from the crowd that they were able to hire a drone, FPV drone pilot to get that shot for them during the match. This was the building that would allow it. So they've wanted to do it a couple of times now, but the buildings wouldn't allow it. Now I remember Matt Hardy wanted to do some Vanguard 1 drone stuff before, and they couldn't do it because of the buildings they were in. The buildings wouldn't allow it. So I thought that was really cool. This then leads to a match that went way longer than I thought. Braun Strowman and JD McDonough. This match, we saw 9.5 minutes of it, but it started during the break. And I was just like, what? Why is this match going so long? Like, do we really need a Braun Strowman JD match to go this long to then build to a show-long storyline of Braun chasing JD around the building all night?
Nah, we didn't need that at all.
Braun walking around like he's got to take a big-ass, massive dump. Literally, the way he was walking, the way he was, like the ones, it was really obvious in the Sheamus spot. When he walks by Sheamus and the way he's walking, he looks like he's clenching them ass cheeks like he's got to take a shit. Anyways, Strowman dominated the first few minutes of this match until McDonough clipped his knee and fell into the ring post. McDonough chop blocked him ahead of a break and continued to target the knee after the break. Strowman responded with a back body drop and a running shoulder tackle on the outside. Balor then tried to attack Strowman right in front of the referee, but Strowman unblocked it and yanked Balor into the ring. As referee tried to get rid of Balor, Carlito would run down and attack Strowman from behind, but Strowman then got rid of him. JD then comes up and headbutts Braun Strowman. Kind of takes him down a little bit. I think it was Pat, maybe it was Michael Cole. One of them yelled, "Oh, JD with the headbutt and that big dome." It might have been Pat, that big ass dome or something like that. So JD gets him down, tries to go for another little chop block or whatever after the headbutt. Strowman then grabs him, hits him with a huge power slam, and pins JD in the middle of the ring. 1, 2, 3. After the match, Carlito and Balor attack. They're easily disposed of. McDonough then hit Strowman in the back with a chair, but it had no effect. He no-sold it. Crowd starts chanting, "You fucked up, you fucked up." Balor, McDonough, and Carlito then bailed as Strowman basically chased after them, vowing to kill JD McDonough. The match itself was okay. I thought it went too long, but what did you think of it?
That was just okay. I didn't think it really need to be that long because normally in a lot of Strowman matches, Strowman just tries to like destroy them in like 2 minutes.
Right. Well, they had to get the Finn interference in, then they had to get the Carlito interference in. So it's like they had their plot points, but it didn't need to go over 9.5.
Someone in the YouTube chat said, "Do you think they'll do a Survivor Series War Games this year in 2024?" I think so.
Yeah.
I mean, as far as the teams, I don't know. It's still a pretty long way.
There's a good chance we do a version of the Bloodline versus the version of the Bloodline. Maybe it's like OG Bloodline versus this new Bloodline. I would still love to see Tama Tonga. I would love them to bring in Jacob Fatu and Hikuleo. And then Tama Tonga turns on Solo, basically becoming the new leader of whatever this is going to be, his Bullet Club in WWE. And then Solo goes back with Roman. Maybe they get Jay to help them. We get OG Babyface Bloodline against Tama Tonga's new group. Because I've always said I want to see Tama Tonga come in and be the Bullet Club Tama Tonga in WWE. I think he would shine so greatly as that. And we get whatever we're getting right now, but there is a good chance that they're slowly building to that because it's going to be Survivor Series. So they got to take their time to get to November. That's just me fantasy booking. Granted, he's not going to be with Gallows and Anderson, which sucks because I really wanted to see Tama Tonga with Gallows and Anderson, but we'll see how it works.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I feel like they can do a lot. I mean, I'm honestly okay with what they do right now. With like just have Solo lead this bloodline.
True.
But then it's like, oh, I got it.
What?
What if they have Hikuleo be like the new enforcer for Solo's new bloodline?
Uh-huh.
And they bring in Jacob Fatu to be the new enforcer for like Roman and Jimmy and Jay.
I don't know. Go for it.
Well, because there is that rumor that people are afraid if they put Jacob Fatu with Solo, that he's gonna outshine Solo.
Right. Well, that's why I say he's on
in a different group.
That's why I say he sticks with Tama Tonga, and they got the new guys versus the OGs. You know what I mean? But I get what you're saying, especially since there's the whole backstory you can tell about how the Usos' dad is the one that really got Jacob Fatu to do wrestling, Rikishi. So there's that tie in there and whatnot. But I don't know. I would just like to see, the new guys versus the old guys, if that makes sense. And also, if we're coming up with a name for it, you can't be the Bullet Club, but you can call them the Tongan Club.
Nah, that feels, I don't know.
I mean, maybe not because they've already done the OC and the club with AJ.
And they already did the Balor Club with Finn Balor and Gallows and Anderson.
True, I forgot about that one, even though I have the T-shirt. But, yeah, but I would just love to see Bullet Club leader version Tama Tonga leading a group in WWE. And if that group is him, Tangaloa, Hikuleo, and Jacob Fatu, that'd be great. Because I always thought that, character-wise, Tama Tonga was one of the better, on the mic. And maybe it's just because he's speaking English, but I always thought he was one of the better, just characters. And, I don't know. I always really gravitated to Tama Tonga in New Japan.
I don't know. I kind of like this Tama Tonga now, even though Twitter's kind of making fun of him with how he does that
crazy Donnie Thornberry.
That and walking like the boogeyman.
Right. Well, that's what he's always kind of done.
I know he's always done that.
Maybe not as much of on his hands and knees like he did on SmackDown when he came out through the smoke, but doing the walking all slow and kind of this kind of thing, kind of like old Scott Hall move. That's what Scott Hall used to do. When Scott Hall would come down the aisle like that, I think that's kind of where he got it from. Scott Hall. Scott Hall would slither kind of down the aisle sometimes like that. But yeah, no. Because the one thing that really always got me with Tama Tonga, I always thought he just came off as a cool, badass guy. I always thought he came off as cool. And then when he was leader of the Bullet Club, I was just like, oh yeah. I was just a big fan of his. Always been. And I've always called him the Randy Orton of New Japan. And then to see him versus Randy Orton on SmackDown last week, boy howdy. Anyways.
I'm trying to think, what would you call them though?
Yeah, I don't know.
So
here's the other thing that would you can just go Guerrillas of Destiny, maybe. I don't know if New Japan's got that trademark.
Or maybe does Tama Tonga own that trademark?
We can look really fast. Also, if I'm remembering correctly, and this could really, really play into the split, I don't think any of them, Tama Tonga, Tangaloa, Jacob Fatu, or Hikuleo, was on The Rock's Bloodline family tree.
Jacob Fatu was.
Was he? Okay, I didn't remember.
He was. I saw him on there.
Gotcha. Trademarks. I got it bookmarked right here. Let's go. Trademark website.
Or for when they bring Jacob Fatu in, they could go the route of like you guys never fought to bring me in. The reason why I'm in WWE maybe is because of these guys.
Well, if you watched SmackDown last week, Paul Heyman basically was like, called all these guys criminals and was like, this is why we haven't brought them in before, because they've got records and they've got pasts that are not very like appealing and friendly and this and that, because they were talking about how they couldn't get Tangaloa into the country in Saudi Arabia. And he's like, these guys have pasts that are not that well. And that's why, you know, me and Roman have never recruited these guys before. Now you're bringing these guys in that are disrupting. So they're getting there.
Well, would you really do that into a storyline that you guys are criminals?
Maybe.
I don't know if I'd go that far, though. It might be a little controversial.
Also, you know, it would be really, really cool is if this new group, they use the name Samoan SWAT Team, and Heyman ends up with them, because Heyman used to manage the Samoan SWAT Team.
That would be cool, actually.
So you can call them the Samoan SWAT Team, and Heyman turns on Roman and joins them, and he's their wise man. That would be really cool. But we're looking at Gorillas of Destiny. Gorillas of Destiny. Is there a trademark on it? Go search everything. Gorillas. It's only searching gorillas. Let me get, where do I go? They've changed the website. Let's go expert search. I'm not seeing a trademark for Gorillas of Destiny at all. If they wanted to, they can use that name, it looks like. Unless I'm just not finding anything here. Let me look one more thing.
I'm curious when we actually get to see Tama Tonga and Tangaloa as have a tag team match in WWE.
All I'm gonna say is Tangaloa's knees are shot right now. Like, his knees are not good. So we'll see. Because if you see some of his New Japan stuff from the last 2 years, he was really he's really not on his game.
Like, where are they gonna have him do? Just stand there with Solo? Can't do that forever.
So no one owns this. I can find no one owns the trademark to Gorillas of Destiny, and the only trademark Tama Tonga himself has is the name Tama Tonga. He trademarked that, but nobody has the Gorillas of Destiny, which is very interesting. So they could use that and just have their new Gorillas of Destiny in WWE. That's going to be something to look out for, to see if anybody ever trademarks that name, that term. So I'm going to look again really fast. I'm going to search it a different way. Gorillas of Destiny. Yeah, I'm not seeing it. Let's see. Let's search it this way. By mark description. Yep, nope. No one owns Gorillas of Destiny that I can find. That's an interesting one. So let's go back to Raw. Liv Morgan is interviewed in the back by Kathy Kelly. She had no remorse over what happened and how she beat Becky Lynch. And she says she did not know Dominic was going to be there. Lynch wanted to remind people that she had never beaten Becky one-on-one, and this was the time she was going to do it tonight in the steel cage. She said the Liv Morgan Revenge Tour is just getting started. Also, we got Macho Man Randy Salad with another super chat. Thank you for that. He says, when do you think they bring in Jacob Fatu? That is the big question. He is signed. I can tell you that 100%. Like, I know people that know Jacob, and I can tell you 100%. And I usually don't like putting 100% on something, but I can tell you 100% he is signed. And he has been signed since the week before WrestleMania. So that is something that I personally have confirmed with people that I know that know Jacob. So when they bring him in, I don't know. Maybe if a Bloodline member is in Money in the Bank, maybe he comes and helps one of them win Money in the Bank. Maybe Solo. Oh, what if Solo wins Money in the Bank? Or he's in Money in the Bank and Jacob comes and helps him win it or something.
That would be interesting.
Just a thought. Just a thought.
But do you think they put? Do you think that would be like they're waiting? They waited too long to bring him in, since they haven't signed since like Mania weekend.
No, I don't think it's too long. It's really only another month and a half.
When is Money in the Bank?
July 6th. In Toronto. In Toronto.
That's. Well, do you think he can get into the country?
I was thinking the same thing. I think now maybe. I don't know.
That's the bad thing about like
The Usos
them doing a lot of international shows.
One of the Usos couldn't for a while.
I mean, that's kind of the bad thing with WWE always doing like so many like international shows.
But I mean, I haven't ever seen anything where he couldn't. So I don't know. Let me see something really fast.
Although if I mean,
let's see. Oh, that's not what I want. I want. Here we go. Trying to see like if he's done any international shows, at least anytime. This one. That's Dallas, Texas. I think all of his matches have been US based, so I don't know. PWU, that's California. What I can see, but he's able to go to Mexico because he worked the Crash in 2018. So he's able to go to Mexico and Puerto Rico. He worked WWC in Puerto Rico. So he can go to certain countries. I know he does have a criminal history, a criminal background, but that was from years and years ago, which is probably up now. So we'll see, but he's worked Puerto Rico, he's worked Mexico. I just hope they bring him in sooner rather than later. I don't know. Like you said, is Money in the Bank too far out? I don't think so, but I'm just like, I want to see what they do with him now. I'm so excited because I've seen Jacob Fatu live. I'm a big Jacob Fatu fan. And it's like, I want to see him on that stage and what he can do.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever seen Fatu live.
Seen him live once. And he is, you see him in that ring, you just go, oh my God, this guy is a star. Like he's just got that presence of top guy.
I know I never really seen like many of his matches, but I've seen his highlights. That guy can like go fast.
This guy does moonsaults off top of cages. I mean, I think he's only ever done it once, but still. He does like some have said he may be the most athletic in the entire family.
I've seen this guy do like those like flips where he like goes on turnbuckle, then like does like the leg thing off the rope, then does like a flip. Like that's impressive,
right? So
you don't really see many high flyers doing that.
Nope. But yeah, we'll see when he comes in. We don't really have any kind of hints or really anything of, hey, maybe here, maybe there. But we just got to sit and wait to be completely honest.
They're gonna keep it a secret though. They're probably gonna have him hide. They're probably gonna have him like hide in a tour bus.
Right. I
know for Taking Low, like they really kept that a secret.
Well, speaking of keeping a secret, did you hear how they tried at least to keep MJF a secret?
Who, AEW?
Yeah, AEW.
How?
So it got out, but instead of flying him straight to Vegas from Long Island, they flew him to Phoenix, Arizona, and then drove him to Vegas. Well, there was a fan on the same flight. When he got on the plane, he was walking through first class to go to his regular seat and walk past MJF. and messaged old Mike Johnson, the PWU Insider, and was like, hey, I'm on a flight to Phoenix, Arizona with MJF right now sitting first class. If that fan was not on that flight, no one else would have known this. But that one fan was on the flight and messaged PWU Insider.
I wonder if Tony Khan has his own plane.
Oh, I would assume. How long is the drive from Phoenix to Vegas?
Probably not that far.
No, it's only a 4.5 hour drive. 5-hour drive with traffic. That's only an hour more than me to Vegas. Me now to Vegas, not me in 3 weeks to Vegas.
4 hours and 50 minutes.
Yeah. Just shy of.
With traffic, it would be like 5 hours, 22 minutes.
Well, 5 hours 22 is taking a different route. 5 hours 22 is taking the I-10 and the 95. The 449 is taking the 93 straight. So it just depends on the route you go. But as far as Raw, back to that show. Priest approaches Balor and Carlito in the clubhouse, they call it. He told Balor that Strowman should have been handled tonight. He told them to go find McDonough and regroup. Also, he asked why Carlito was there, and he goes, you said you want to speak to the Judgment Day? He goes, yeah, the Judgment Day. You're not Judgment Day. There's a video recap of the destruction of Braun Breaker from last week. Say earlier today, medical staff cleared Ricochet to work. Adam Pearce wasn't convinced, but acknowledged that Ricochet was cleared, so he'll give him a match. Ricochet wanted Braun in a match, and Pearce said, no, Braun is suspended, and so you could face Ilya Dragunov. Basically, Ilya thanked Ricochet for pushing him out of the way last week. Dragunov offered a rematch, and Pearce made it happen. So this then led to a 10.5-minute match, Ricochet versus Ilya Dragunov. Dragunov was all over Ricochet early on and kneed him right out of the get-go and out of the ring, which then led to a break about 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes in. After the break, Ricochet came back with a knee strike of his own and a suicide dive. Dragunov then caught a second dive attempt and drove him into the side of the ring, but Ricochet stepped up the turnbuckle moments later and hit a moonsault. Two traded strikes in the ring until Dragunov dropped Ricochet with the clothesline and a Constantine special. Dragunov then followed this up with some chops and a powerbomb. Dragunov then came off the middle rope with an H-bomb attempt. Ricochet then caught him with a super kick. Ricochet then followed this up with a recoil and got a near fall off of it. Ricochet tried to go for and hit a shooting star press, but was hurt when trying to make the cover. Ricochet then, as Ricochet got up, Braun Breaker would appear and speared him to death. Dragunov chopped Braun, but he cut down Dragunov with its spear as well. Officials then came down and checked on both men, with Pearce admonishing Breaker. Braun smiled and walked off without acknowledging Adam Pearce. Pearce followed Braun and continued screaming at him until Braun shot him a look. The crowd really got hyped up when Braun came out, and they're doing great by Braun Breaker. Now, I'm liking the way the storyline is going, but I'm still backing up my words of I didn't like the way that they put Braun down at the beginning. They could have done this whole same storyline with just saying, oh, you didn't make the final cut for the tournament, for the King of the Ring. Not saying, I didn't think you can hang in the King of the Ring. That's the one qualm that I still have. Him telling Braun, I didn't think you can hang. What he should have just said was, sorry, we had so many people in so little spots. And Braun is still mad that he wasn't one of them so little people. But after the break, Pearce and Breaker argued backstage as Kathy Kelly tried to provide us with an update. Braun then left. Kelly wanted to interview Pearce, and he was approached by Kiana James. Pearce told James they could speak in his office because he needed a drink. So what did you think of all this with Ricochet and Ilya, and then that leading to the Braun Breaker spots?
I'm honestly liking what they're doing with Breaker now. This is basically like the same Braun Breaker whenever he turned heel on Carmelo Hayes in NXT. Mm-hmm. It's the exact same Braun Breaker, and I am loving it.
I love just destructive. I don't give a crap. I'm gonna beat up everybody. Braun Breaker. It's making him come off like a badass and a star. He's supposed to be a heel, but it's getting him over with the fans, and I love it.
But now it's like, now what's it going to lead to like after this?
Eventually, Adam Pearce is going to have to find somebody the size of Braun to try and stop Braun. Well, that's the other Braun. Or you bring somebody else back, like maybe a Brock. I don't know. I don't.
Braun versus Braun,
right?
Battle. Oh, they have to do that.
They do, but I don't know how good the match would be. Braun Strowman's kind of slow now, and
well,
so
it's not his fault.
Well, no, but I don't know. I feel like it's gonna be. I don't know. I don't know if Braun Breaker can get a great match out of Braun Strowman.
It doesn't have to be like a super great match or anything.
I want to see Braun Breaker power slam Braun Strowman.
Joe would be cool.
Huh?
Have the ring collapse.
Yeah, we haven't had that in a couple years.
Like, what was the last time Braun Strowman like doing like a slam on a Big Show?
I think it was
ring collapse. Do another one. Or do you need like a bigger dude to do that?
No. I actually think doing it with those two would work because then it would make Braun Breaker feel like a bigger guy. If him and Braun do like a superplex spot or something, it would make him come off as a bigger dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was Raw. Braun Strowman and Big Show in 2017. So Miz and R-Truth were shown with an ice cream truck, and boy, oh my God, this segment. Whew. So Truth was working inside the truck and handed Miz a drumstick. Miz said, "Why do I gotta wear all white?" And Truth said, "You gotta represent your flavor." Miz goes, "Oh, well then if I'm vanilla, what flavor are you?" And Truth goes, "Strawberry." I'm like, oh, okay. Woo, boy. Miz was surprised that Truth said strawberry for himself and then stopped short of guessing chocolate. I'm like, oh, okay. New Day then showed up, and Xavier Woods, wearing a Savannah Bananas hoodie, asked Miz what flavor he was about to say. And Miz was like, yeah, I was like strawberry. New Day then wanted a title shot. Truth was willing to give it to them, but Miz wasn't. Truth then hid inside the truck, and Miz left. Aaron Cross would then appear. I love this. Aaron Cross would then appear and approach the New Day. Cross wasn't there to challenge them to a match. He wanted to help Woods. He wondered when Woods would finally cut Kofi Kingston loose. He also wondered if Kingston was waiting until he retired and let Woods shine. Cross then invited Woods to watch AOP in action tonight. Woods said that he would take on AOP, calling them Toka and Razor. And that was just like, yeah, I loved it. Turtles 2 yeah, is one of my favorite movies as a kid. My favorite Turtles movie. I watched that movie a quadrillion times. Like, I would watch that movie on repeat as a kid. Secret of the Ooze. But when he said Toka and Razor, I was like, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Cross was
I remember when I watched that movie when I was a kid, I was like, man, this is a cool movie. And I tried rewatching that like at 21 years old. I was like, man, this movie feels dumb.
Really? I watched that movie. I watched that movie at 5 years old and loved it. I watched that movie at 35 years old and loved it.
Like it was cool when I was a kid, but then when I grew up, I was like, this does not seem like as enjoyable like when I was a kid.
Oh, I love that movie. We got Raph and Kino trying to infiltrate the Foot. And then you got fucking the Raph gets captured and then they gotta go save Raph from the Foot Clan hideout with Shredder and all that. And then you get Kevin Nash as Super Shredder towards the end. And don't even get me started on Vanilla Ice. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. Go Ninja, go Ninja, go. God, I love Secret of the Ooze.
Wait, Kevin Nash was Shredder?
Super Shredder at the end. Super Shredder.
I didn't even know that.
Yes.
Wait, hold on.
When Shredder gets the ooze and turns into Super Shredder and comes up out of the rubble from under the dock or whatever it is, that's Kevin Nash as Super Shredder towards the end of the movie. I feel like we haven't had this conversation before. I've had this conversation with somebody on camera before. I thought it was you, but maybe not. Yes, Kevin Nash, the Super Shredder.
Hang on, let me find an image of this.
I mean, you can't tell it's him because he's got the mask and the suit and everything on.
Well, yeah, and he had a mohawk, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, here we go. Here we go. I got you.
I found it. I know he made a video like a year or two ago, Kevin Nash did, on how he got cast as Super Shredder.
Here we go. Pull this image up on the screen really fast. Yeah, no, I love this movie. This was one of my favorite movies as a kid. I watched this movie all the time.
Have you ever seen the...
So that's him without the mask on. Because this is when he was, what, the Oz character in WCW. And then that's him with everything on. Yeah, Kevin Nash as Super Shredder.
Have you ever seen like that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles like live action like show in the 90s where they had the female turtle?
Oh, don't get me started on that bullshit. That was so bad. So bad.
They did like a collaborations like episode with Power Rangers in space.
Yep.
That sucked.
Yeah, that's when they had the light blue
female turtle.
Female Ninja Turtle named Venus. Because Leonardo was regular blue and then she was the light blue. And they called her Venus. And I was just like, what is this? Oh no. And like and to make sure you knew she was a girl, her mask came down in her big braid. Almost like a Bianca braid.
Have you ever seen that episode they made with like the Power Rangers?
I don't think I've watched the episode, but I like seen images of it. I don't think I've ever seen the actual episode though.
You should watch the episode.
Gotcha.
I've seen that like multiple times when I was a kid. When I was a kid, I thought it was kind of cool, but then when I saw people's reviews on it, they were like, "Yeah, this is one of the worst Power Ranger collaborations ever."
Huh. Yeah, no. The first two Ninja Turtle movies in the 90s, well, like, what is it? No, the first one came out in 90. I think it was the first one came out in 90. The second one was 91. Those are both good. Then you got the third one where they're like time traveling and everything. Not as good. The third Ninja Turtles live action movie, not as good. But the first one, really, really good. Second one, amazing. The third one, meh. Like, I'm probably going to go watch Secret of the Ooze again tonight now.
What, the one where they time traveled? No, it was
with the samurai, the time traveling in the samurais.
They had to save April O'Neil because she accidentally got time traveled to the samurai ages.
That's the third one. That's the third one in what, 92 or 93? Like they started.
I thought that one was just okay.
Yeah, that was 1993. Yeah, man. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3. Like, that was so bad they didn't even give it a sub name. At least TMNT 2 was Secret of the Ooze. That one was just TMNT 3. But no, I loved Secret of the Ooze. One of my favorite movies as a kid. When I was real little, I had like all the toys. And then when we moved from LA to Central California, we had a garage sale and I was like, we can sell them. And I wish I didn't. Because they're all worth so much money now. Like, I had all the Ninja Turtle toys in like 95, 94, between 94 and 96. I collected like all of them.
I know my cousin was like a big like movie guy from like the 90s. Like, he showed me like all the Ninja Turtle movies. He introduced me to Major Payne.
Nice.
Like, that movie was awesome.
I love Major Payne.
He showed me the two Problem Child movies.
But nobody showed you Honey, I Blew Up the Kid?
We're not repeating that one.
Just saying.
I've heard of it, but I never had the chance to watch it. I watched it now.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the first one I saw out of that franchise was Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves.
Yeah.
That was the only one. Because that was the only one that was on Netflix.
Right. I'm trying to think. No, because I know I've seen Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves more than any of the other ones, but I'm pretty sure I saw the first one first. But I know I've seen Honey, I Shrunk Ourselves the most because it used to come on Disney Channel.
Well, I think that was like shown the most out of like all the other ones.
Well, yeah, because they used to air it on Disney Channel back in the day.
They never show Honey, I Blew Up the Kid like at all. Like when I was growing up.
No,
that's why I never saw it.
Well, I wouldn't say rarely because sometimes they would air it. I've seen it once or twice on ABC when they used to do the Wonderful World of Disney and they'd air Disney movies on ABC, and I've seen it on there on a Sunday night a couple times. But moving forward, maybe we'll do another podcast one day, just old movies and reminisce or something. I don't know. But moving forward, we had the Authors of Pain against the Creed brothers. This match only went 3 minutes. Julius Creed got a chance to shine by handing out some suplexes to the larger opponents. However, Scarlett drove Ivy Nile into the ring post and caused a distraction of the Creeds. This allowed AOP to hit Julius with a combo powerbomb, neckbreaker, and pick up the victory. Cole said the double team finisher is called the What a Rush, which makes sense from the Paul Ellering tie-in there. Any thoughts on this match? Just a 3-minute squash, basically. Which is, I'm sad that they're squashing the Creeds.
I didn't really expect the Creeds to lose, especially with like all the Gable stuff.
Right, exactly.
That's why I didn't really want the Creeds to lose, because then if the Creeds lost and got squashed, then if they go around, Chad Gable's like, I don't want you anymore because you guys got squashed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I didn't like the booking there.
They should have just done like some local competitors, honestly, just to like rebuild them.
Right, or get some two random guys from NXT that we don't really see much. Like some NXT level up guys, like they did with Braun Breaker last week.
Yeah, they got a guy from The Bachelorette.
Well, he's also in NXT. He wrestles on NXT level. So I don't know if you saw this. So the guy that lost to that got beat up by Braun Breaker last week, he had a match on Level Up Friday, so which was 4 days after, and they told us this match was previously taped, and here's this guy getting killed on Raw Monday, after this match was actually filmed. So they like played it all in on Level Up on Friday, which I was like, okay, that was kind of smart. Because you got to think, this guy was killed on Monday. Why is he wrestling here Friday? But no, they tell us, nope, this match was actually filmed the week prior. Because we know Level Up is not live. Rey Mysterio was backstage cutting a promo. He said Carlito was welcomed into the LWO with open arms, but his jealousy over Dragon Lee made him bitter. And his attack of Cruz del Toro was a huge mistake. Carlito could run the Judgment Day if he wanted, but their friendship was now over. When they step into the ring, Carlito would find out what happens when you cross the LWO and when you cross Rey Mysterio. We go into the back, and Sheamus said that Saturday's show featured a banger after banger. He said not to be part of it was kind of a letdown because the Kendall Ludwig Kaiser smashed his knee and took him out. That's why he wasn't there. He said he wasn't bitter. And he understood that was part of the game. But what made him salty was Kaiser talking trash about him while he waited to get cleared. Sheamus announced that he was back. He couldn't wait to get his hands on Kaiser's scrawny neck. Kaiser would interrupt on screen, and he made a comment about Sheamus as being old. Kaiser then rambled until Sheamus cut him off. Sheamus marched to the back to find Kaiser, but Kaiser decked him from behind. They brawled in the arena until officials broke it all up. Any thoughts on this? Also, we did learn that it's Kaiser versus Sheamus next week on Raw.
I think that would be a fun match.
Yeah, I do too.
Kaiser versus Sheamus. I will say, at least they're doing something with Sheamus that actually feels like something.
Mm-hmm. So Becky Lynch approaches Lyra Valkyria in the locker room. Lyra was sore. She says she has a bruised knee from the Nia Jax match. Lynch then told her, quote, Saturday didn't go our way, but it's not about winning all the time. It's about getting better every time. But we'll win or learn and keep winning or learning until it's time to walk away. Now, is that, I'm maybe looking too much into this. Was that a Becky promo saying, maybe my time here is over, when she said, you win and you learn, you lose and you win or you learn until maybe it's time to leave. Maybe it's time to walk away. Is that Becky saying, I'm leaving? We know her contract is up Saturday. Just saying. What do you think?
It could be a tease, but I think it's maybe teasing that she could leave, but maybe it's one of those things like, I haven't made up my decision yet,
right.
But if I do leave, maybe this could be it.
Because the timing of that and the wording of that is very, very interesting. Butch gave her a fist bump and then told her maybe you should get some knee pads, and Lyra chuckled. This then led to Lyra Valkyria versus Kairi Sane. This is where we heard Kairi's new music, which I really liked. This match went just shy of 4 minutes. Lyra was sore and all taped up after her match with Nia Jax. Pat McAfee was like, I don't even know how Lyra's wrestling. When I saw that match at King and Queen of the Ring, I thought when Nia squished her, she broke every bone in Lyra's body. I was like, yep, I thought so too. But nope, Lyra is a tough son of a gun. Excuse me. And she's back here wrestling 2 days later. So Sane worked over Lyra early on, hit her with a double foot stomp on the apron. Lyra was upside down at one point in the corner, holding on to the top rope. Sane then hit another foot stomp and got a 2 off of it. Sane tried to go for the insane elbow, but Lyra got her knees up and blocked it. She applied a crucifix pin. 1, 2, 3. There we go. And then they just immediately cut to the back. Any thoughts on the match itself? It does lead to something later.
I mean, I'm glad Lyra got the win.
Yeah.
Still make her feel like a top wrestler in the women's division, like even though she lost to Nia.
True, but you also got to think, even though she lost to Nia, them having the faith of putting her in the finals is them telling us, hey, we're not going to go all the way with her yet, but she's somebody that we are going to go all the way with eventually. She's someone we do see as a top future star, you know. So I think putting her in the finals was a great, great move to show the fans and everybody watching, hey, don't take your eye off Lyra Valkyria.
Joe would have been cool. Like, even though she lost, like, let's say Becky, like, re-signed and she was still the champion going into, like, SummerSlam. What if they did Becky versus Lyra at SummerSlam?
Be nice. I mean, technically, we've already seen it.
Yeah, but maybe
NXT.
it's, like, on a bigger stage, though.
Also, I might pull something up on the screen for... Give me 1 second. Pull something up on the screen here. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Becky with a tease of the world. Becky.
Was it a tweet?
Yep. I got it right here. So it's Becky walking out the building, and it says, to be continued. This woman. We're leaving the building, and it just says, to be continued. Great shot. I love the way the shot is framed. I love it. As a photographer, I find this a great, great shot. You got your leading lines. You got her placed perfectly centered. Yeah, this is just a great, technically great photo. But yeah, what does this mean? Is Becky leaving? Is that line we just spoke about until it's time to walk away? Well, in this picture, it looks like she's walking away. Uh-oh. Just saying.
I struggled a little bit in my, like, photography class that I took. I could never get the captions right.
What do you mean?
Because I know, like, it was like a photojournalism class. So every photo you take, you had to, like, write a story.
I'm sure you confused me there when you said the captions. I was like, huh?
That and, like, you know, the ISO settings?
Yes.
I also struggle with that as well.
So ISO should be the last thing you set. Basically, ISO is you set your aperture, you set your f-stop and all that, your exposure, and then you go to your ISO and you slowly raise that until you get the brightness you want. You want your ISO as low as possible to get the least amount of noise. So that's why you set it last, to just slowly raise it up.
Yeah, but then, like, there'll be a photo where it's, like, too bright. And I'll be like, all right, I got to retake this.
Oh, I've done that many times where I've had to retake photos.
Yeah, but I think for photojournalism, it's a little tough because then it's supposed to be like an action photo. It's not like an
True.
actual like photographer thing.
Well, I've done a lot of sports photography as well, and you can't retake those photos.
Yeah, like
You miss
that's what
it,
I'm
you
saying.
miss
It's like,
it. Yeah.
yeah,
That's why, like, when I
That's
go and
what-
do, like, when I go to do a soccer game or a football game, I do a lot of just random shots early just to get my settings in. So that way, once the game actually starts, like, I'll go and take a bunch of random shots during practice when they're practicing warming up. So that way, I know my settings are good for once the game starts.
I honestly never did that. I probably should have.
Yeah. It just comes with time and practice. I've only ever took one photography class. I actually took there was a photography shop here locally that actually brought in a Canon professional from Canon. And I was like, oh, I'm going to take that. And I learned a couple of things. Most of it I already learned just trial and error on my own, like everything else I've learned. But yeah.
I know my photojournalism class, we had like interview like an active like photojournalist. Is
Nice.
And like everyone in my class interviewed like someone local. I know one person interviewed someone from Syracuse mainly just because that person was like a guest speaker, like through Zoom. And apparently the person I interviewed was like a famous photojournalist. And my professor was like, "Wait, you interviewed this person?" I'm like,
That's
yeah, I
funny.
did it with the phone. It was pretty easy. Like the person's name was Ed Kashi.
That name sounds familiar.
Like he does a lot of political photos.
Okay, I heard the name.
Yeah, my professor was like, "Wait, you interviewed him?" I was like, "Yeah, I messaged him on Instagram." He said the response I got was like message him through email. So I emailed him. He said, "Sure, I'd love to."
Nice.
It was pretty easy.
Hey, you always gotta shoot your shot. If they say no, they say no.
No, because like I didn't really know any local ones.
Right.
So I basically just went on Instagram just to find one.
Gotcha. Anywho, also I messed up earlier when I said Priest asked Carlito, "What are you doing here?" It was this time, the second time we went to the Judgment Day clubhouses when he said, "What are you doing here, Carlito?" I got that wrong. But anyways, so Balor and Carlito appeared. Priest was there and said, "What are you doing here?" He said, "You asked to see the Judgment Day," and he's like, "You're not the Judgment Day." Carlito then said Priest told him, okay, I already said that. Carlito asked if they would be out there for his match later, and Priest didn't give him an answer. Remember, it's Carlito versus Rey Mysterio. JD then enters as Carlito leaves. Because Priest is like, didn't answer him, and then goes, "You got a match to go get ready for?" So Priest wondered if they had dealed, Priest wonders if he has to deal with Braun. And McDonough was like, no. And then he goes, interestingly, he goes, so, what are you doing talking to Liv Morgan? And I'm like, whoa, they acknowledged it. I did not expect that. Priest to literally go to JD and just be like, what are you talking to Liv about, huh? And JD admitted, yeah, I was speaking with Liv, but only to tell her she ain't going to be champion for long. And I'm like, oh, okay. Dom then enters, and Priest wanted to speak with him alone. Because he kept saying, where's Dom? Why haven't I seen Dom all day? Where's Dom been? And then Dom finally shows up. Dom admitted, I messed up. I know I messed up. He's like, so have you spoken to Rhea? He goes, yes, I've spoken to Rhea. I told her that I'm going to fix all this, and I'm going to fix it tonight. Priest said that he was glad he wasn't in Dom's position and said, yeah, you better fix it. Dom only made it worse.
What's he gonna lead to? Is he gonna lead to like Liv Morgan joining the Judgment Day?
I don't know. I have no clue.
Or, ooh, what if they just kick Dom out? Because like, yeah, you screwed up and Rhea's mad at you, and then it could lead to like Finn and JD turn on Damian. They could go the route of Damian's all by himself and has to like feud with both Finn and JD.
Maybe. So then we get a very interesting segment. Io Sky is in a locker room all by herself watching the show. Kairi Sane and Dakota Kai walk in, and Sky flips out on them, yells at them in Japanese, and then just starts destroying the room, throwing furniture, just throwing the plant, breaking things, and she just, and then storms out of the room. I'm like, oh, boy. So Is this trying, because we don't really know who the leader of Damage Control is. Is it Io? Io's the leader, and she's mad at the rest of them now for losing?
I would assume Io's the leader, and maybe Dakota Kai is the one that like maybe translates for them.
Right. But anyways, this was a very, like, I'm interested to see where this goes. Like, very interested. Like, this was a kind of almost nothing segment if just looking at it. But when you think about it, oh, this could lead to something. And I'm interested to see where it leads to. Yeah.
I think it could maybe lead to maybe just Io just saying, screw you, you guys suck. And then they all go their separate ways. Then it could lead, maybe once Asuka returns, she returns just by herself.
Well, because I was thinking maybe like it leads to Io not trusting Kairi and Dakota and thinking that they're not worthy. And then like Asuka's got to come back and bring the group back together or something, or kind of calm them all down. I don't know. But it was very, to me, I found this very intriguing, the way Io just flipped out. I found it very intriguing.
Yeah, maybe.
The show,
I don't know, like,
go for it.
I don't really want them to like break up quite yet, though.
And I don't think they will. I don't think it's going to lead to them breaking up, but it's going to lead to like some trust issues, maybe, of like, I lost my belt. You guys didn't help me keep my belt. You guys are now losing a bunch. You lost your belts, the tag titles, and this, that. So it's like, I think it's just going to lead to their downward spiral before they build themselves back up.
Well, no, that, and I don't want them breaking up because now it's like, what are you going to do for War Games now?
True.
For like the women.
Yeah.
That is another good question. What do they do? I know it's really a long ways away, but yeah, I don't know.
I have no clue. It's
too far to predict, actually.
That's like 6 months away.
Yeah, it's too far to predict.
So moving forward, the show is Savannah Bananas in the front row. We then get Rey Mysterio versus Carlito. You catch Samantha Irvin's big old botch.
What'd she say?
Michael Cole called her out for it. She goes, making his way to the ring, accompanied by Zelina Vega, Cruz del Toro, and Joaquin Wilde, Rey Mysterio. Well, Cruz del Toro and Joaquin Wilde were not there, but Dragon Lee was. And Michael Cole literally goes, Cruz del Toro is out injured and Joaquin Wilde is not here. So yeah.
What the heck are they doing with Joaquin Wilde? I know he's done some NXT stuff recently.
I don't know. They got the injury to Cruz, and I think they're just gonna wait till Cruz is cleared back up. But I thought that was funny. She literally botched the entrance there, saying that there were guys with Rey that weren't with Rey, and that didn't even mention Dragon Lee. I don't know if she just had a sheet of paper that said this is what it's supposed to be and what it normally is, LWO. I don't know. But yeah, big old blunder. So early on, Carlito hit Rey with a superplex. Well, actually, nothing really happened before the break. They were like, I don't know, a minute and a half, 2 minutes. They go to a break, come back, Carlito hits a superplex. Rey came back with the lion salt for a 2. Carlito followed this up with the fireman's carry into a cutter for a 2. Balor would then enter through the crowd and attack Dragon Lee from behind. Mysterio then wiped out Balor with a seated senton off the apron. Carlito was unable to utilize this distraction. Rey hit him with the 619 springboard splash and pinned him to pick up the victory. What do you think of the 10.5-minute match before we get to the post-match?
I mean, the match was okay.
Yeah.
I didn't think it was anything special, but now it's like, what else do they do with like Carlito? And I mean, I know they built something up still after, but
this is, as we're going to talk about here in a second, that led to next week we're getting Damian and Rey.
Yeah. Honestly, like, I was kind of bummed out that they basically said that Carlito was the one that attacked Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
Because they basically already just gave that away. Like,
I wish they would have shown it as well.
They would have shown it, and I would have liked it if it was like, if Carlito was like, oh yeah, I attacked him just to like be on your good side.
Because the way he did it last week was like, yeah, sure, it was me. Like, it almost made me feel like it wasn't Carlito, but I don't know.
I wish it would have been Dijak or something.
Apparently, I don't know. I didn't see the main event spoilers. Apparently, Dijak's supposed to work main event today.
Jeez, they gotta do something with him on Raw.
Right. So after the match, Mysterio attacks Balor and chucked him onto the announce table. Dragon Lee went to the top rope, but Priest would come down and attack. He attacks Mysterio from behind while Carlito spit the apple in Dragon Lee's face. Priest then nailed Dragon Lee with the razor's edge. Mysterio then jumped back in the ring and kicked Priest into the ropes to set it for the 619. Balor got in the way. Priest then booted Rey. Priest laid Mysterio out with a South of Heaven chokeslam, and the crowd booed. Balor and Carlito were happy momentarily until Priest shot him and looked like, "You gotta come save your asses." And then they were just like, "Oh, my bad. My bad." So this did lead to, they announced later on in the night that it's going to be Rey Mysterio versus Damian Priest, non-title, next week, Monday Night Raw. Then we get Chad Gable, and I wasn't too big of a fan of all this Chad Gable stuff tonight. I'm just going to say it. I don't know. I feel like they're dragging it out a little too long now. Chad Gable's in the back. He was annoyed that Tozawa didn't come help him in Saudi Arabia and didn't make the trip on Saturday. Gable then could have used Tozawa's help, he said, but he's like, it's all good, whatever. Tozawa apologized, and Gable wasn't really mad. Strowman then marched past them. "You seen JD? I'm looking for JD." And they're like, "Nope, we ain't seen JD." Otis and Maxine walks up, and he goes, "Hey there, Goldilocks and the 3 brain cells." Clever little line there because he keeps calling her stupid and dumb. Gable didn't want to hear or want her there for ringside tonight and said it wasn't about your fashion show. Gable said that he would be IC champ if it wasn't for Otis and Otis's blunder at the pay-per-view. Gable was going to give Otis a second chance to redeem himself tonight by taking on Bronson Reed. Gable wanted to hear Otis say the words. And as usual, he said, no matter what. He will do what Gable says, no matter what. Which this then led to Bronson Reed versus Otis in a 3.5-minute match. Otis fought back early on, set it for a caterpillar, but Gable demanded he stop. Otis was about to do the move anyways, but Gable got in his face. All this time here allowed Reed to recover. Reed then hit a thrust kick, senton, and a tsunami to pick up the victory. And Gable just watched and did nothing. Then we get to the post-match. And Gable's like, "We're going to have an Alpha Academy meeting." And so out comes Dupree, out comes Tozawa. We go to a break, and when we come back, Gable wondered what it took to get through to them, get through to Otis specifically. Gable said that Otis lacked discipline. So he would show him discipline in front of everybody. He then removed his belt and told Otis, "Grab the rope." Basically, he was going to spank Otis. I didn't like this at all. Gable slowly made his way to the ropes. With his back turned to the Gable, Gable told Dupree and Tozawa, "Watch." Gable was about to whip Otis, but Dupree stopped him. Gable mocked her and told her to leave. Sammy would then interrupt, Sami Zayn that is, and he checked out Dupree on his way out, or her way out. Zayn then told Gable he wasn't tough. "Really, you think this makes you a tough man? No, this makes you a weak man. A weak little man." He says you manipulate people to get your way. To get your way, which really hasn't worked out for you, has it? Every time you get a shot, you fail. You come up short. Not because of others, because of you. He said you blame everybody else for your shortcomings, and it's you who have lost when the title is on the line. Gable then said it was time for Otis's discipline, and when he was about to whip him with the belt, Sammy yanked it away from him. Otis stood between Sammy and Gable. Zayn wondered how much more crap Otis was going to take from Gable. Zayn told Otis, "Listen to the fans." As Zayn gave Otis the words of encouragement, Gable then decked Zayn. Zayn then fought back, but Otis pulled him off of Gable. Zayn tried talking some sense into Otis, and Gable suplexed him. The crowd then chanted, "Let's go, Otis," as Gable stood over a fallen Sami Zayn. But Otis did nothing. Just sit there and watched as Gable and Tozawa left. Otis then waited back with Zayn for a moment, and then finally Gable was like, "Otis, let's go." Gable's good in the role, but I wasn't a big fan of this segment. Like, really, you're going to spank the guy with their belt? I don't know. Honestly, if I'm going to say it, this felt like a Vince book segment. I'm really going to say that. This felt like a Vince McMahon segment with the whole, I'm going to spank you with your belt because you were a bad boy. Or my belt because you were a bad boy. What'd you think of all this?
I thought it was going to lead to like the Creed Bros like replacing them two. Like,
Yeah.
when do you do that?
Well, I wouldn't
2
have done
weeks,
it.
maybe?
I wouldn't have done it tonight after the Creeds got a big old loss against AOP.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is just, I don't know. This segment just felt a little weird for me. Gable's good in the role. I will say that. Gable's good in the role. But this segment just didn't do it for me, especially with the whole belt, I'm going to spank you kind of deal. You're going to get your punishment.
What would have been better, like this, or what if he did like go sit in the corner,
That would be just as bad.
or it'd be like, or I don't know, what would you have done different?
So if he wants to like admonish Otis, I don't know.
Maybe like, don't look at me until you actually prove yourself.
Maybe. Like, you have to earn your way back. Like, you're no longer a member of the Alpha Academy. You can't wear the shirt or anything until you earn your way back in, until you actually win something and do the right thing. I don't know.
Wait, he wears a plain white T-shirt, no theme music.
There you go. As we move forward, there was a video recapping Liv Morgan's win over Becky Lynch. Both were then shown warming up. Kathy Kelly then interviewed Shayna Baszler and Zoe Stark. Baszler didn't care who the women's tag team champions are. She just wants to fight for the belt. She said, we've never really seen Jade and Bianca, so, well, we're going to invite them to Monday Night Raw next week. Sonya Deville then shows up and wondered why they were talking like champions already when they're not champions. Deville said that she could help them become champions, though. They blew her off. Baszler told her, walk away before I put you on the shelf yet again. Deville respects Shayna, her accomplishments, but says, I respect you, and the locker room doesn't. So basically it's like, hey, I know you've done great things in the past. You haven't done anything recently to deserve people's respect. And this did lead to Isla Dawn and Alba Fire showing up, because when they were doing the interview with Kathy, they're like, we've beat all the women on Raw. Yet, Isla Dawn and Alba Fire show up and go, we're new to Raw and you haven't beat us yet. Deville then reiterated to Baszler and Starks that, hey, again, the locker room, I might, but the locker room doesn't respect you. Interesting segment here. Very interesting. I don't think Sonya's coming back to wrestle. I think she's going to end up being their manager.
That wouldn't be terrible.
Right?
I mean, she's basically kind of in a manager.
Yeah.
Which I think the new manager, like in her spot, might be Kiana James now.
I don't know what they're doing with Kiana James. I think she's just going to end up being Pierce's assistant, which I don't know. Weird. Very weird. We got a couple things announced for next week's show. Sheamus versus Ludwig Kaiser, New Day versus AOP, and Damian Priest versus Rey Mysterio non-title. This then leads us to our main event match that went 13 minutes and 12 seconds. Well, over 13 minutes and 12 seconds. The match actually started during the break. So when we come back so they do the entrances, go to a break, come back, and the match has already started. Morgan was in control. Morgan drove Lynch into the cage and used her boot to rub Becky's face into the cage. Morgan used 3 consecutive drop kicks into the cage and multiple shoulder tackles. I will say, for a WWE cage match, I feel like they utilize the cage as a weapon itself more than we normally see, and I appreciate that. Would you agree? I felt like they used the cage more than normally in a WWE cage match.
I agree, actually.
Yeah. Because a lot of times it's like a cage match, and you'll sometimes get whipped into the cage, and you're like, my back. But like, there was more spots of, I'm going to push you against the cage. I'm going to kick you into the cage. I'm going to use the cage to reverse moves and counter holds. So I appreciate that they actually used the cage here more than normal. The Lynch dodged another attack at one point, and Morgan went headfirst into it. Cage then or into the cage. Lynch then rammed Morgan's head repeatedly into the cage. Lynch followed this up with a missile drop kick and got a 2 off of it. Lynch used a basement drop kick to drive Morgan into the cage, but Morgan fought her off and bounced her against the cage again. After another commercial break, Morgan tried scaling the cage, but Lynch brought her down with a superplex off the middle rope. Morgan then drove her into the cage yet again and followed this up with a code breaker for a 2 that looked really good. They briefly traded right hands and stuff, and they were at the top of the cage for a moment before Morgan brought Lynch down with a power bomb. Lynch then applied a disarmor on the top rope. Remember, no rope break, so she can do whatever she wants here. And Morgan once again shoved Becky face first into the cage to break the hold. Morgan began climbing the ropes, but Lynch brought her down with a Russian leg sweep. Dom then jogged out to ringside, and this was dumb as... Dom is there, referee's there, and John Cone just lets them open the door. Ref just stands there and just like, oh, hey, what do you... No, you can't... What, huh? Dom just opens the door. Becky, let's go. Becky, come on. And I'm just like, ref, what are you doing? You can't just let someone come out and open the door. No. This was dumb. And I get it led to the Braun Strowman spot that led to the screwing Becky spot. But you could have done this another way. You could have done this to where Becky calls for the door, so the referee opens the door. Then Judgment Day comes down. Then Braun comes down and da-da-da. But I didn't like the ref just letting Dom open the door. If that's the case, Dom should have gotten the fucking ring and just pulled Becky out. Granted, he's a one-armed man right now, but still. I don't know. Or jump in the ring, hold Liv down, and let Becky run out. So I wasn't a big fan of them just letting Dom open the door. Anyway, Dom opens the door and encourages Becky to leave. Braun Strowman's music then hits. Braun then runs down, chasing old JD McDonough as he does the spot where he runs around the ring. He runs around and he bumps right into Dom. Dom bumps into the cage door. The cage door then bumps Becky in the face. Becky takes a big bump. Liv then scurries out and wins the match. Dumb finish. Dumb diddly dum dum dum. I didn't like this finish at all. Then Morgan walks up the ramp with her belt, goes face to face with Dom, and it cuts on the USA Network. But as we talked earlier, Morgan then kisses Dom. Morgan smiles afterwards. Dom looks like, what the hell? And then the show finally goes off the air. So what do you think of the match and the finish and all that?
I mean, match wasn't bad. The finish didn't even show up on the USA Network.
No.
So.
Not the kiss, no. She goes up to Dom and then it cuts right at the top of the hour. So we missed the last, 30, 45 seconds?
Yeah.
But overall, what did you think of the match?
I thought the match was good. Basically, a lot of questions of is Becky going to resign? That's the big question going out of this match.
For fans like us and fans that follow the news. But if you're looking at it as just a fan who only watches the show, you wouldn't know that, though.
Yeah.
But the story is, Dom messed up again.
Yeah.
So I don't know where
I don't know.
I honestly, I found the Liv kiss to be super random, and I'm just like, what the hell? I don't even know what to think of the Liv kiss.
I think the storyline would have been much more interesting if Rhea wasn't injured.
All right, Kelly in the YouTube chat, explain yourself. What do you mean by WWE does participation trophies now? How is this participation trophy? This isn't participation trophy. This whole storyline is, Liv won the belt because Dom screwed up. I doubt you would say participation trophy if it was with Rhea. But explain yourself. Why do you think this is participation trophy? Because it's not. If you really look at what the story is, it's not. It makes a whole lot of sense. Also, if you are watching live on Twitch, the poll is now live. But yeah, I don't think it's participation trophy at all when you really look at and break down what the story is. It's Liv was going after the belt. She attacked Rhea. Now pretend Rhea is still in this match. She attacks Rhea. Rhea then defends the title against her. Dom screws Rhea by accident twice. You got to think of Becky as supposed to be Rhea. If you think of it that way, then it's not participation. It's they put the title on Becky just so they can do the story of Dominic messing up, and that's how Liv won the belt. It's not participation trophy at all when you really look at the crux of the storyline and what it's building to and what it's building around. I feel like this was going to build to the Dom Rhea split where Rhea eventually is like, I've had enough of having to, like, this could have led to Rhea saying, you know, Dom, I've had enough of protecting you. I've had enough of you riding my coattails. You've messed up one too many times. I'm through. That's where I think this was going to eventually lead to now that we know where it's gone this last week. Any other thoughts?
Nah, not really.
So with that, you know what we thought of the show. Now it's time to hear what you guys thought of tonight's Monday Night Raw as we go and pull the polls. Did the Threads poll not go? Sometimes Threads likes to post things and sometimes it doesn't. Like I'll go to post something on Threads and then it'll be like, oh, you're not technically signed into Instagram, so that post didn't go. Like what the hell, Threads? Anyways, as far as the Twitter poll does go, 69% liked the show, 27% thought it was just all right, and 2% didn't like it. Looking at the YouTube community poll, where the hell's the community? Did that not post either? I know I did it. Hold on. The community poll didn't post either. What the hell? Very weird. I know I posted it. Anywho, the YouTube live poll. YouTube live poll, 80% liked the show, 15% thought it was just all right, and 5% didn't like it. As far as the Twitch poll does go, 60% liked the show, 40% thought it was just all right. With that, guys, I want to say thank you for joining us here. Twitch.tv/PW Unlimited, YouTube.com/Pro Wrestling Unlimited, and podcast services all around the globe like Stitcher, Spotify, Google Pod, Apple Pod, Anchor, iHeartRadio, and so much more. Luke, tell them where they can find you.
You can find me over at Twitter X at Petke_21. And you can also find me over at Twitch at Young Grasshopper Luke.
With that, guys, we'll be back on Wednesday for AEW Dynamite, all the fallout from Double or Nothing. So have a great night, have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Have a good one, guys.